Okay, so with absolutely no sense of irony, the New York Times out with its latest hit piece on the president, claiming that Trump is fatigued less than a year into his second term. After tracking his official appearances, the Times claims his schedule is drastically lighter than last time around. But wait, where was all that energy during the Biden years, when the New York Times explained away his age nonstop, calling him healthy, vigorous, and sharp? President Trump responding, writing on Truth Social in part, quote, "The creeps at the failing New York Times are at it again. The radical left lunatics in the soon-to-fold New York Times did a hit piece on me that I'm perhaps losing my energy, despite the facts showing the exact opposite. There will be a day when I run low on energy. It happens to everyone. But with a perfect physical exam and comprehensive cognitive test that was aced, just recently taken, it certainly is not now." Joining me now to react, the Federalist reporter Brianna Lyman and NewsBusters executive editor Tim Graham. All right, welcome to you both. This, some stories you're just thinking to yourself, who would write that article? Well, the New York Times would, Brianna. What do you make of this President Trump losing energy piece?
Well, of course, the New York Times would write this because they're propagandists for the Democratic Party. And the same line that we heard for 4 years, which was, don't believe your eyes and ears. Even though you could see Joe Biden cognitively declining, don't believe what you see. Trust us. They're actually using that same playbook now, but they're reversing it. They're saying, don't trust your eyes where you see a fully competent and fit president, aka President Trump, carrying on day to day. Trust us to tell you that your eyes are wrong. He's actually cognitively impaired, just like Joe Biden was. It's the same playbook, but reversed.
Tim, even if President Trump's schedule has slowed down, and I can't believe that it has, it's still like 500% beyond the most productive person in America. Why would you even try to write that story when the evidence to everyone is so clear?
Yeah, I think the real measurement of this is his access to the press. They're trying to say, well, he's having less official events than he had in the first term. Look, in the reality, the White House reporters at the New York Times and the other liberal outlets don't like covering his actual White House events. They're all like, we don't want to be propagandists for Trump. So they don't actually cover those. So it's weird that they would start measuring those. But, obviously, Trump is granting so much more access to the press than Biden did. That's one measurement that I think really matters here. And the New York Times isn't giving him any credit, and neither is anybody else.
So I want to move on to this, okay? More liberal media. Can't stop, they won't stop. Now bending over backwards to defend the seditious six. Watch this.
And then you have Pete Hegseth, who is who runs the Department of War, is going to open an investigation into you. I assume into your colleagues. You will have to be interviewed by the FBI. And they're trying to find what exactly? I mean, what even is sedition?
This was a brilliant move by Democrats. They have Republicans actually defending illegal orders. Bravo, Democrats there.
Yeah.
Like they played right into your trap.
Following orders is not a defense. Carrying out military strikes on boats in the Caribbean without congressional approval, that's an illegal order.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess Joy Behar is our legal expert on this one. Brianna, was this a brilliant move by these congressmen and women, or are they going to regret doing this?
I think they're going to regret doing this. And I thought it was funny that Jimmy Kimmel says the FBI is going to come speak to you guys. I'm sorry, do you want to have a word with the Republican congressmen and senators who were targeted in Arctic frost because of the spying by the Democrats, where they had the intelligence agency sicked on them and they didn't even know it? Second of all, you can't not talk about the seditious six and what we just saw happen in D.C. today. The idea that President Trump is giving out illegal and unlawful orders also implies that those carrying out those orders are carrying out illegal and unlawful orders. We saw 2 people get shot today, possibly murdered. And there's arguments on the left that they were carrying out unlawful or illegal orders on behalf of the president. This type of rhetoric has to stop, and these lies have to stop.
Tim, are you concerned that the context created by the rhetoric of these congressmen and women does create a more dangerous environment for National Guard members who are in places like D.C.?
Sure. I mean, obviously, it's not just the National Guard, it's the Border Patrol, it's ICE. They're being compared to the Gestapo. They're being compared to authoritarian rulers, putting people in cities. They make it sound very like a horror movie. And they do it incessantly. They can't stop doing it. Right. And that was the reason for this video, is that they were basically trying to suggest that if Trump hasn't given you an illegal order yet, and they can't actually produce any evidence of one, well, it's coming around the corner. I mean, it's so lame. And for Joe Scarborough saying it's brilliant, this is the same guy that said last year, this was the best Biden ever.
All right. Yes, maybe he wrote that New York Times piece. I don't know who wrote it. I didn't read it myself. Okay, last one for you. This is sort of like a Grinchy thing for Thanksgiving. You got these woke universities and school districts who are attempting to tarnish the Thanksgiving name, branding it as a day of mourning. UC Davis hosting a Thanksgiving myth-busting event on colonial narratives and land seizures. MIT holding a Zoom session on decolonizing Thanksgiving in the classroom. The University of Massachusetts listing the holiday as a day of mourning on their DEIA website. University of Maryland presenting Harvesting the Truth on Indigenous Food Systems and Thanksgiving Myths. Boy, this goes on a long time. Berkeley Unified School District sharing a Rethinking Thanksgiving guide, urging reflection on its painful legacies and nuanced perspectives. Man, I would love to have Thanksgiving dinner with these people. What's wrong with being thankful, Brianna?
Not a damn thing. Let me tell you something. My 11th great grandfather, Thomas Rogers, came over on the Mayflower. He signed the Mayflower Compact. He died before the first Thanksgiving, but his son, my 11th great uncle, was at that first Thanksgiving. And what these pilgrims did is what no other people could do. They established the first covenant of self-governance with that Mayflower Compact. And at that first Thanksgiving, they were thanking God that their experiment that the founders would later basically fall back on, John Quincy Adams talked about this, was successful. So we should be so thankful for these pilgrims for doing what no other people could or would do.
Tim, last quick thought on that one.
There's nothing wrong with studying what the Indian tribes did at the time. The problem is they always come at it with this narrative of the white people are guilty colonizers and you should still feel guilty today. Feel guilty about your white privilege before you eat your meal.
Yeah, I might feel guilty about eating too many helpings of potatoes tomorrow, but I'm going to end it right there. Brianna, Tim, you guys are great. Good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.